everyone, hope you all are doing really well. I know I'm coming out of very long time, but this time I'll try to be continue. Maybe in the every Monday I'm planning to put a new video. And this time I'm coming up with full stack QA as that in 2025. So as we all know, right now everyone is looking, every organization is looking for SDET. So SDET full stack QA. So what all things you must be knowing that before going for the SDET role, and in 2025, what is the expectations of every organizations that you should be knowing if you're applying for SDET. So in this video, we're going to cover all those topics which is very much required for you to going for an interview and prepare well. All those topic has to be checked. So before we start, I request you to guys please subscribe to my channel, please like, share and comment, so that will also give me the motivations to do it. I know I'm coming after a very long time. I have many issues to going on, so but still I try to, now everything has been sorted and now I'm trying making more videos for you guys to help you for your interviews. So in this video we're gonna cover everything out, and starting up with UI testing and automation. So before we start, I just wanted to tell you one more thing that I'm gonna also post out some MCQs in my post, so that will also help you. So what happens is I have given many interviews, right? So after my coding round is finished, my Selenium round is finished, so there will be a 10 or 10 15 minutes they will, most of the organization takes, wherein they'll ask questions and they expect me to give the one word answers for that, like correct answers. So when you go through those MCQs, right, you will understand, like for example, I've also put the explanation when what is the answer. That will also help you in preparing the interview. So I please participate in that MCQs also if you're preparing for an interview. So that will also help you in those random questions if it will come up from your project descriptions, or maybe your testing, or maybe if they'll take it after after you complete your coding round or whatever. So that will also help you to make stand out of it when you give the answers which is coming through my MCQs, right? You will be having a standard answers what they'll be expecting you to answer, because that also shows that you are prepared well. What it is, what will be the answers, and what is that term called, and you are very much aware of the function, the technologies around the testing. Now we'll be starting it with, if you're going for SDET, right, it will be UI testing and the automation testing. That is very much known. So for the automation, I think what all tools? Selenium WebDriver, I think we know it for automate browser interactions, for regression, functional and smoke testing. But I think there are modern frameworks are also coming in the market, which is Cypress and Playwright. So either of them you should be knowing. So it is a modern framework, and Playwright it has a faster execution as well. Since I'm working with Playwright right now, so I think me also have the little hesitation, since I'm very much knowing everything in Selenium, TDD, BDDs, and I think it is very much good also, like everything, right? Rest assured also we'll be doing it through cucumbers and everything. So we know, and it's a comfort zone. But moving from Selenium to Playwright, and there is a different language called JavaScript and TypeScript, either of them you should be knowing. So I was a little hesitant to go about it, but when I have to make a switch, since I don't have any other option, so I did it. But later, sooner I realized I love automation, whatever tool it will be. Either it will be Playwright or Selenium. I love automating it, and I'll be finding it interesting. I'll be like, if you love automation, whatever tool it will be, you love to go deep diving into it. And Playwright also come, like for example, if you stuck it somewhere, or you like for example, if we stuck at some places, like we will not be able to automate some other functionality or like that. So Playwright also come up with the recording option. So it will help you to record the element also, and the functionality what it has to be. So I'll come up with a Playwright, like we'll be going through easy and the tougher version how we can do about it. I'll be coming up with Playwright also, but right now we are into this video, so I'm just telling you guys that now if you're going for SDET, out of like Selenium, to you should be knowing, but apart from Selenium you should be either of that tool, Cypress and Playwright. So if you're not prepared, if you're not knowing Playwright or Cypress, start practicing Playwright in your own computer or the laptop, so that it will be helpful for you in terms of interview. Okay, then second one is visual regression tools. So there are multiple tools here. I think applet tools or Percy detect unintended UI changes, these kind of tools are there. You can also use it for your testing, but for now it will be less priority. And then accessibility testing, like tools like Axe, Lighthouse, ensure compliance with accessibility standards. So these all tools you should be knowing, right? And since it also have in many organizations, these tools they'll be giving it to you for your testing, so you should be knowing all those tools. Then second, then UI testing example. So this is the base, this is the foundation of your testing, that is agile, test pyramid, and experience based. Agile includes smoke, sanity, and regression, and test pyramid, as we know, unit integration, system testing, and end-to-end testing. And then experience based will be exploratory, ad hoc, and UX reviews. Now we have now the real world use cases. So first is e-commerce website, wherein you can use that. So scenario will be automate the testing of the shopping cart, checkout flow, product filtering across multiple browser. So implementation will be use Selenium integrated with TestNG to simulate a user journey, validate the dynamic elements, pop-ups, loading spinner, behave as expected. And then banking applications. So we can also verify the login process, dashboard widgets, and secure interactions. And we also have, like for that, we have the implementation. Cypress test could simulate user interactions, check that sensitive information is masked, while accessibility tools validate the UI meets WCAG standards. Now we also have API testing and the automation of API testing. So for the API testing is also you should be knowing. So rest assured, though you should be knowing, and the Postman also. Then again API dog, Bruno. So you should be knowing that how to at least the syntax of get post, delete, and then how to validate that. So those all things, like how you're validating that API, like if you're getting the response, how you're validating your response, those all syntax they'll be asking you to, like for example, if you wanted to see if it is coming 200 okay or not in your response, how you're going to validate that. If you're expecting to come something like in the response, how you're extracting that and how you're validating that. Those all things is being required for you to know. And even the syntax, they'll ask you to write the syntax. Contract testing tools like pact ensure that the consumers and the provider expectation, like you also have the API contracts, right? In that contract also you need to validate, so that also it will be required, since now everything is through APIs. UI and the backend is communicating through APIs, so there are certain contracts when you're developing the APIs, and that contract has to be validated also. Now service virtualization, so WireMock, like there's tool, right? These tools you should be knowing. Hover help to simulate API responses for isolated, like you wanted to simulate and see mock APIs, how it is working. So in the API testing example, if you see, though API exploratory testing, so we can also use Postman or curl command to manually invoke the endpoints and validate the errors or the response code. Then we also have security and boundary testing, right? Test scenarios such as in, like for that, like boundary testing you will be doing with the invalid inputs and output, rate limiting, how it is unauthorized access. These all thing you can check it. And then contract verification, so review API documentations and perform sample calls to validate to confirm the implementations meet the specifications. So those all things you should be knowing in terms of API testing. Now we'll see the example. It will be one is payment gateway, that has a lot of APIs, right? So payment gateway, what it does, like we can automate the test for transaction processing, how it is happening, like transaction will be back to back, it will communicate to different application also. Now so when you do the payment, you will be doing it through card or whatever it is, it will be triggering the APIs, and if it is PhonePe, GPay, whatever you are using, it will communicate the APIs from GPay, and how you see the response, it is coming or not, that you can check. And then and you can also see the, like how it is processing the error handling and authentication, how it is happening. Then you also have this ride sharing services, so booking, driver assignment, and cancellations endpoints, those all also you can see it into the real world cases in the APIs. Now we also have database testing and automation. So database has use automation like SQL query testing. We can also use automation frameworks to use create, retrieve, update, delete operations. DB unit and JDBC, automate database state setups and validations, schema migration tools, data masking. So these all things. So like schema migration tools, you can also use Flybase or Liquidbase to automate and verify database changes. And then you also use data masking, automate the masking of sensitive informations in non-production environments. Then we also have the example of database testing examples. So we will be using SQL validations, data integrity check, ad hoc querying. So we can also use MySQL Workbench pgadmin to manually query data, ensuring business logic is correctly implemented or not. So that's SQL. You should be knowing the queries, right? How queries should work. So and there also the logic. If even in the database also they'll put some logic, right? So based on certain conditions, it is populating the data or not. That you need to check. Then you also have the data integrity check, so wherein you manually review the data before and after migration process to see how the consistency of the data. Then ad hoc querying, so like you can have the complex queries like where you have integrated with multiple store procedures, and then you can see that how you will be seeing the sessions or potential datas. All those things you can test it. You should be knowing how to test everything, right? All those queries, how you can manipulate, you check from one data tables how it is communicating to different data tables, it is reflecting on those data tables or not. The data, whatever data you are seeing it in the database is reflecting the same when you do it in the UI. So UI, the same combinations are reflecting or not, that you need to check. So the real world use cases will again be CRM system or e-commerce order management system. So CRM system automate data migration, validations, verify customer data is correctly transformed or not, that you can check. And then e-commerce order management, so automatically test store procedures and triggers that manage inventory and order status. That you can see it into the database testing. So I think database testing also very much important. So you should be knowing joins and like query, which is mainly used. So like and all these queries are generally used. So you should be knowing the syntax of everything. So if you are going for basically, if you're going for any SDET or the QA role, these all the basic things which might be required, and sometimes they will ask you, if I'll be taking interview, I'll definitely ask you, write the like query for me and write a join query for me, because that is something which is required in our day-to-day life. So if person doesn't know these basics also, it's difficult for you to clear the interview. And sometimes I'll tell you with my experience also, since I am good with database. So sometimes if I'm like, for example, if you go back in 2 or 5 years, 2 3 years back, so I was giving interview in for my internal projects, and since I doesn't know DevOps much, that time I am not much of Azure DevOps, but I was very good with database. So that DevOps person came, since he doesn't know anything much about testing and I doesn't know much about DevOps role, then what else? So then it will be, he asked me many queries like join queries, and then different type of queries, how you will be writing the merge queries, and how you can concatenate two queries and do like that. I was able to do it, and that's when I selected. Since see, even if you doesn't know something, but if you're good at something, right, that will also increase your chances for the interview. So that is that's the reason you have to prepare everything. So in at the run, like at the interview time, if something you don't know, right, so that will also compensate, like if you know something very well, so they know that you have a good learning skills, right? That shows that okay, the person has a good learning skills. Sometimes if the person is able to do that thing, like that toughest query, I was able to do it, and that happens to me twice, not once. Even my before that, when I have given the interview also, that SQL things help me. So those all SQL sometimes comes, I'm telling you, don't demo, like take it like as a, don't give less priority to SQL sometimes save you, because it's a complicated queries. So if you're able to track that down, you will be able to see that okay, because it's a tester, these are these basics things they are expecting you to know. If you're scale at it, maybe new things comes to you, they'll expect okay, you, that shows that your learning capabilities are good. Since SQL doesn't play much role in your testing activities sometimes, because you don't have to do every day, right? You have to do once or twice, but if you're good at it, right, so they will be expecting that okay, something you have to do it maybe once or twice in a week, or during a sprint you have to do 4 times. But you'll be able to do it. That shows that. Okay. Okay, more time we have taken it here. Now we also have security testing and the automation testing. Then we also security testing also sometimes it has a low priority, but again depends on your application. So it has a DAS tool, SAS tool, penetration testing, and API security check. So we have the OWASP, ZAP, Burp suite for automated vulnerabilities scans. Now every companies are doing SonarQube, check marks for static code analysis. Now every company is also doing penetrating testing frameworks. Later or sooner, right now every developers are doing. Now I think it will come to QA also. They'll be we should be knowing SQL injections and accesses, etc. It will come to us also to test. They'll expect, as many of the organizations, they expect you to do it because it has to be done every sprint. Then API security test checks automated scripts to validate token based authentication like OAuth or JWT. I think that is something which we are doing it anyways. We will be doing, right? Like we have that any of the authorization tests checks when you do the login. I think there are auth token which is being generated that needs to be validation, that has to be validated when you do any security testing or the performance testing. Security testing example: manual penetration testing, security code review, and exploratory security testing. So as I said, like there is a Burp suite to manually inspect and exploit vulnerabilities, especially for the complex flows not covered by the automations that I said. Okay, security code reviews, manual review code for configuration setting for potential security flaws. Exploratory testing, perform unscripted tests to identify subtle security issues or misuse scenarios. That can also be checked, right? Now the real world is social media platform and e-commerce application. So if you're working in e-commerce or social media, e-commerce company or which has an e-commerce application, then you really need these all testing are required. So now social media, it will be like automate scans or users input to detect SSX, SS and SQL injections or CRF vulnerabilities. Then e-commerce, conduct manual penetration tests on checkout pages and login forms to catch flaws that automate. Like automate tool will not be able to find out all those things, right? So you need to figure it out, like how you can do the manual like the checkout pages, how you can check it. So you need to figure it out by doing security check. Now mobile app testing and automation. So sometimes I think when you come and experience with 6 or 7 years, they'll be expecting you to be in mobile app testing also and APM. So APM framework and native frameworks, like for the iOS you need the native frameworks, right? And the automate cross platform mobile testing. So even Playwright can also be used for the mobile testing. So that you, then when we're gonna discuss more about Playwright, we can see it. Okay, and then native frameworks, like you can use Espresso, XUI test, or for UI automations. Then we also have cloud device testing, use Browser Stack, Sauce Labs, or Firebase Test Lab for testing across various variety of devices. So I'm just giving you the input, like these all things to start with. If you're knowing about these all stuff, it'll be good. If you're looking out for any, the organizations you're going and you see the requirement specification or JD, if you're really looking out and you need to start with all this testing, so you can go ahead with these areas wherein it will be easier for you to go ahead, because there are so many things available, right? What is right here, it is I'm telling you that what is right, you should learn about it, and that will really help you in your interviews. Now we also have the cloud devices testing. We have performance profiling, utilize Android profiler and Xcode instruments. Now we also have mobile app testing example, which is exploratory testing on devices. So manual test on physical devices to capture device specific issues such as touch, sensitivity, orientation changes, and sensor integrations. Then we also have usability testing, evaluate user experiences by navigating through the app, accessing responsiveness, and check for gesture related bugs. Then third is ad hoc testing. So ad hoc testing is always there, and whenever you do the automations or whenever you do the UI testing, so it will be like unscripted test. You just explore the edge cases and potential usability roadblocks. Now in the real world, we have the food delivery app and the health and fitness. So we can also automate user flows like order placements, tracking, and the notifications. And for health and fitness app, You can manually validate the API responses to various user inputs and sensor data and connectivity changes that we can check, right? Like user input, user put the inputs, right, for the health and fitness app. So every user has a different height, weight, and their target weight. So these are the different inputs they'll be giving. So how it will give you the use cases, right? How it will be performing based on those things. So it will giving you the correct output or not, that you need to check from the API responses. Now we also have performance testing. Now performance testing and automation testing, I think very much important nowadays. So every applications need a performance testing. So load testing, JMeter, I think it is very easy tool. And Gatling to simulate user load, that I think you should be knowing Apache JMeter no matter if you're going for the Aztec. They will expect you to do it in 2-3 hours if you're working in service base. So I think JMeter, which is something we really need to look into. So that is the tool which is help you out in many ways, and it is easy also. So once you get to know, I told you, right, if you love the automation, you do it any which ways. So and stress and spike testing, like you can also use when you're doing stress especially, then you can also use locust framework or K6 for identify bottlenecks during high usage. So for example, if your APIs or there are certain load data is so much, right? So you can also use locust framework. Then you also have APM tool, New Relic, Dynatrace to continuously monitor application performance. Now browser profiling like Chrome, DevTools, Lighthouse to assess the front end performance. Okay, the front end we can also use Lighthouse tool. So performance testing example, like you can do exploratory performance testing. You can also manually simulate user instruction during high load periods to access UI responsiveness, and like when they are user, like you expect that this time, like for example in the we will discuss example in the later page. Now you have the baseline comparisons to compare manual performance observations with automated metrics to validate the user experience aligned with the performance test results. So those all things you will be testing, right? Like you got the results, but you have to see that it is aligned with the your user experiences or not. For example, financial trading platform. So we use financial trading platform, right? So for example, if there are for example, if there are some shares or some stock might got into some loss, it is decreasing, right? So many people will sell it at the same time. Most of the time, for example, today it will be, so there is a time, right, before 3 o'clock it will be a peak time. So everyone will sell it. So we need to check, okay, the stress is so much, right? So if the market simulate, so we need to check the volatility and monitor system responsiveness that time. And then media streaming services. So we have to validate the streaming quality and load timings remain acceptable during high traffic. So for example, if something comes new into the Netflix or anything, so that time, like many, for example, in Friday most of the new movies launch, right? So Friday or maybe Saturday or Sunday, Sunday weekends, many people watch the same movie, right? Whatever, if new movie comes up. So today I'm making it, so Chava came into Netflix right now, so many people will watch it because many have that's a good movie actually. So many people will watch it. So at Saturday Sunday it will be high traffic day. Many a times, like maybe 5 6 7 8 maybe 10 20 people are watching at the same time. So that you need to see, right? That can be seen. So based on what application you're working on, you need to see. And but when you're giving the examples also, so for example, if somebody asks you example, give me the example of that real-time example. If you're explaining something, and these are the examples will help you in interview, like in your interviews. Now we also have architecture level testing and automation. So nowadays, when you're 7 or 8 years of experience or 9 years or 10 years experience, they expect you to do the architecture level testing. So it will be like contract testing pack to automatically verify the service interact as per the defined contracts. Okay. And the service visualization. So we'll be using WireMock to simulate dependent services during isolated testing. Now your containerized testing, Dockers and the Kubernetes to create production-like test environments. Or chaos engineering, I think this Monkey or Gremlin to introduce failure scenarios and measure resilience. Now we have the architectural level testing example. So we have integration walkthroughs, manually execute integration scenarios to validate data flows between components and particularly after major changes. Now second one is exploratory system testing, manually simulate user journey that span multiple services to uncover potential issues with service interactions. Now real world use cases is retail platform, which is microservices and complex booking system. So retail, like automatic contract test between inventory payments and shipping services, that can be used. And then complex booking system, manually validated interaction between the front end booking modules and the back end reservation services during simulated outages. So these are the things which is required. Then there is a dash. I have told you right now, they are expecting you to have DevOps, test data, and AI AM ML based test. So in DevOps, I think so infrastructure testing, automate IAC validations with Terraform or AWS cloud formations. Now you can also do some certificates also into learning those things. Now test data management, data seedling, containers or data. So use Faker or Data Factory to automatically generate dynamic data. And containers or data for data, leverage test container to spin up database with predefined state. Now self-healing is a tool like TestTame or Mabel adjust to UI changes automatically. We need to have that because it will be like we really have to use AI and ML. Predictive analysis, use AI model to prioritize test cases based on historical trends. So these can also be used. That is like a little high tech on doing that. But these all things you should be knowing that, after 10 years, like what new, these are the new things in the testing, right? We'll be having more discussions around since I'm coming from the very long time now, so I'll be coming up with these new things which we're gonna learn about: DevOps, test data, AI, ML. So don't forget to click on the notification button, so you will be learning a new trending things for your interviews and you can stand out. So, and thanks for watching it. I'll request you to like, share and comment. And if you want this slide, okay, I can give it to you, but again you have to watch this slide since I've not put in every data. So how you gonna explain the real-time example, because knowing that, you should be knowing, right, what you're gonna explain. So you really have to watch this slide. This entire presentation of mine. I've put in a lot of effort here. But if you want the slide, you can ask me, put it into the comment. I can share it to you. Don't send me mail. If you're putting into the comment, and send me a mail that you need, I'll be telling you that send me a mail, then you can send it so that I can check, because there are a lot of mails coming to me. And if you're sending me within 1 month, I can have that. I can give it to you. And if you're asking me after 2 or 3 or 4 years, I may not be having that slide, right? So please, like many people are asking me the slide which for the video which I've uploaded maybe 3 years or 4 years before. I don't have it. So right now, if you're asking me, I can give it to you. But again, I want you to do this drill for me. If you're giving, I'll happy to give you the slide. Like, share and comment and subscribe to my channel. I think this is the small thing I'm asking you, and I will be giving you the slide. Thank you so much for watching, and all the very best for your interview, guys. And I think this is the great time to prepare you well. And next month, I think there are a lot of openings coming up. You will get your dream job. All the very best. Thank you.